Well. Apologies about that little intro mishap there, but this is the DC UK podcast, and I am just getting back into the swing of things. And as you can see, there is a brand new look and feel to the podcast if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching this any way possible. But welcome back. It's been 5 months since the last episode. There's a lot to catch up on. We're not going to go through every single month of the last 5 months because it has been slightly depressing, shall we say. I hope you can all hear me out there. It looks like I've got the green bars on my screen, so if you can't hear me, please let me know. But failing that, it's been recorded, so you can catch up after. Anyway, I will bring up my show back to my show notes. This is the podcast that you get to hear all things DC United from the other side of the pond if you want to listen to this in America, but from the little island known as the United Kingdom, and it's great. I got inspired because I got invited to another podcast, the United weekly podcast, earlier on this week. I got invited a couple of weeks ago, and I jumped on, and it was great. It was good to be back into that familiarity and getting back into talking about the club and what's been going on and just getting things off my chest, really. And it just gave me that little bit of motivation that I just needed, that I've been missing for quite some time. To get back into it, I did another watch along at the weekend against New England. We will be talking about that later on in the show. But it's good. It's nice. I got the excitement. I've been busy recently. Unfortunately, I've recently lost my job, and it's given me a bit of extra time just to, make a difference. And it's been, I'll probably use this word quite a lot, fun. And if you are watching, let's have a little tour. What you'll see on your right hand side here is the DC United fixtures from the entire season. As you can see, it just scrolls through every few seconds just to kind of give you the latest results and the results that have been throughout the year. And as it gets to the end, it also goes into the standings, so you can see where we are. And as I'm talking about it, it's just coming up now, and it's got the timings there. They're all in the UK timings as well. And there we are at the table, and you can see us down there right at the bottom, which is not where we want to be. And you've also got the Western Conference there. So I'm just bringing all the data in there. Down here, you'll see the next 5 fixtures for DC United as well. So they're just running through constantly throughout the entire episode. So you can see, obviously, this weekend's game, next weekend's game, and so on and so forth. It's all things I've been building, and I've used API football to bring in this data. I've used the help of Google Gemini to bring in all this data and build it into visuals using CSS as well to bring it all together, make it look great, and bring this podcast to the next level. And I hope we can start building on this, and the watch alongs will become even better because they'll have this sort of theme, but they'll have. If you watched it the weekend, you'll have seen the start of it. So that was kind of V1, version 1 of the weekend, and I had it in different sort of layout to what we've got here today. So I had the match stats as the game was going. That was refreshing every minute. I had the scores around the grounds, and I had the match ticker from, so you could see all the subs that were happening as well, in as much real time as possible. Again, that was the data's being brought through from API Football, and they've been great. It's such a good tool to have. If you're used to using APIs and you want to have a bit of fun, sign yourself up. There is a free version of it. You get like hundreds calls per day to use that one, and you just I can have a lot of fun. In my work career, I've been using APIs a lot more, and have been done recently, and I found it enjoyable to get that data and bring it in, and just to have a bit of fun with it. I love it. I think it's great. If you have used it in your career, or you do it yourself, hit me up in the chat. I'd love to hear what you've been thinking about and what you think about this layout right now. If you don't want to hit it in the chat, drop me a DM. More than happy to chat about it and what I've been using and how I've been getting it going as well. But today's show, we'll be breaking down the state of the club right now. We're currently on a 9-game winner streak, but we've got a new manager finally at the helm. We'll be talking about that in the headlines. We'll be obviously going through that match at the weekend against New England Revolution, where unfortunately it was yet another loss, and it's just not going well for us. And then we'll be obviously looking ahead to the weekend's fixture against Montreal. That is coming up if you're watching this on Friday, or watch this live tomorrow. If you're watching it on the day. But also we've got a boatload of fan questions that you guys have been sending in, so we'll be answering that at the end of the show. But you know what? I've got a little guest DC Who. It's been a while since we've done it, and I'm using tools to help me as much as possible. I'm a one-man band. I'm doing this podcast, and I need as much help as possible. I will be honest. Recently, I've had a lot of thoughts about postponing the rest of this year, because I've felt like I've had a lot of burnout. I had a lot of motivational issues, and there's been a lot of reasons for me to stop what I've been doing. I wrote an entire episode about it, a mini video of what I was going to do to announce that. But thankfully, the guys over at United Layers kind of stepped in right at pretty much the right time. So this was almost canned for this year, and just to kind of give me a bit of breathing space. But you know what? I've just got that little bit of excitement back. The club's not doing great, but I love what I do here, and I hope you guys enjoy that too and can see that as well. So I just wanted to kind of do that and just get it back out there. I lost my complete train of thought there. Where was I? Yeah, guess DC Who. So we've brought it back, and yeah, I've been using lots of AI tools. I know some of you will probably go, "Oh, why are you using that?" But it's helped. I'm a one-man band. If there's anybody out there who's listening and Gooner Boy, I don't think it's a tricky one. I think it's not bad that you've given up on DCE right now. I think with the way the club is right now, I will go into it in a bit more detail, but the way things are right now, I've been this close. It's been a while since I've watched a live game. I hadn't done it before the weekend for over a month or so, and I was just like, we're just losing. We're losing. It's all that's happening. It's not good. But we've got a new manager on the touchline this weekend, which talk about that now shortly. Anyway, DC who? This player was an MLS Best 11 honoree with DC United back in 2018. So it's a recent player. He's been to win the MLS MVP award with another club and has just completed a major transfer. Who is it? Stick around to the end of the show where I will announce who that player is. But that's all you get. That's literally all you're getting. Gooner Boy with an answer in the chat. I'm not going to say who that is. I'm going to wait and announce it at the end of the show. But we do have the news. And there's one thing that hasn't gone away. And it's this. So that has not gone away. That's never going to go away. The news music, because that is quintessential British news theme. That will never ever go away. But something that is new, you'll see it just pop up just here. It's going to be just there. Are you ready? Hey, news headlines coming up at the bottom. There is a new era in the dugout. New DC United head coach, René Weiler. He's Swiss, so I'm not sure if it's a Weiler or Weiler situation. He's finally received his visa and he will be on the touchline for this weekend's fixture against Montreal. It's been almost, by the time the game happens, it will have been exactly a month since the announcement of us hiring him, to the point where he's actually getting involved. So it's just under a month that he got his visa. So that was yesterday, on August 14th. We announced them on July 16th. It's just, the whole visa process has just been an absolute shambles. When you compare it to like Son Heung-min and who was the other player that's signed recently? Thomas Muller. Being able to get it pretty quickly, it's just it's bonkers how long it's taken. I know the US government is in such a sorry state of affairs right now, with lots of layoffs and things like that have happened. But to get to a month where to get a visa through, it's just crazy. But yeah, he is on the touchline this weekend. He was able to start work with the club and the team on Thursday. Whether that's going to make any difference or not for this weekend, I genuinely don't think so. There's not enough time for him to have made that much of a difference. And whether Flanagan, who's been the interim head coach in that meantime, has been doing what René would have done anyway if he had his visa straight away, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I just don't. For this weekend, I just don't see enough time will have passed since the visa being applied and the game happening for us to have any difference on how we do and how we play. So that's how we're looking there. It's a huge gamble for the club. There's a lot of money riding on René, in terms of how much we're paying him. He's our most expensive head coach in history, in our history anyway, not in the entire history. That would be stupid. But in DCU history, he's our most expensive head coach. So there's a lot riding on this. There's been a lot of mistakes recently in our head coaching department, shall we say, since Ben Olsen left, since he was fired. Hernan Losada, Rooney, Lassane. It's just not gone particularly well. So the track record doesn't tell me that this is going to be any different. There's a lot of discontent right now with the fan base, and it's going to take more than just a good head coach to turn the fan base around. It'll help, but there needs to be a lot more change. But Rene's on the touchline. It'll be interesting to see how he does, see what his personality is like, see how he communicates with the team, what his tactical vision is going to be like. There was a meet and greet earlier on this week, or last week, where he mingled with a few season ticket holders, but yeah. And as Gooney Boy has rightly said, I was hoping to have the YouTube chat just down there, but for whatever reason, it isn't working, and I've no idea why it's not working. So, we'll see. I'll try and get it working for next episode. For the watch along anyway that I'll do this weekend. Hopefully I can get it working. We'll see. But yeah, that is the first headline. The next headline, I just have to click a button and a new one will pop up. There we go. The crisis deepens. That is the headline. And what does that mean? Well, our winless streak has now stretched to 9 matches in MLS. Almost as long as I've been out of the podcasting game. Almost, but not quite. We are, as you'll see on the right-hand side just over here, the fact that we are bottom of the East right now. And that is awful. Granted, that is down to goal difference, that we are bottom, but our goal difference is the worst in the league, minus 29 if you are wondering. We have become the team that you want to play against if you're going through a bad run of form, like New England were. They were going through a really bad run of form, and they were able to get through it. And it's just kind of incredibly frustrating that we are that team. We are the whipping boys of the league right now, and we have been for a little while, but this feels different. This feels the worst it's been for a long time, because there's not been an ounce of belief right now from anyone throughout the entire squad that I can see anyway when I've watched either the highlights or watched the game of the weekend that tells me we know how to win. It's been so long since we've won a game where we've got meaningful points anywhere. There's just no confidence right now, and that's sad. And when you're going in, and for me, when I'm going into a game, watching it, if I'm staying up till nearly 3 a.m. watching a match, I want my team that I support. I want the team that I would bleed for to show some passion, to show some respect for the fans, to show that they want it. Right now, I just don't see it. And that hurts a lot. And that's why I've struggled with motivation recently to do this. The whole reason for me doing this podcast was to give something back. I came over to the States in 2018, and I was welcomed to the stadium, to the tailgates, to the whole community. I've followed the club for a long time, for a very long time, longer than a lot of people actually think. It's pretty much since 2004, properly. And I want to be able to give something back, and that feels like it's very much a one-way street right now. I'm giving something back to you as the fans of the club, but the club isn't giving anything back right now. I've not bought a shirt this year. I don't feel like they deserve my money right now. I would love to have the away shirt, but right now I just don't want it. I'm happy with what I've got there. I've got a couple of the away shirts over there, just up on hanging up. It's just not good right now. And there was a clip that I'd seen on YouTube. Was it YouTube or Instagram? It was a shot of a reel or some of that, the portrait variety. And It's about what's holding back MLS. And it's the OG teams. You look at the OGs right now, and you look at where they are in the league, and you look at what is exciting about them. There really isn't right now. We're getting to this table now. I mean, Chicago, not quite an OG team, but the only team that is actually exciting right now that is a proper OG is Columbus Crew. In my mind, what I'm thinking about. They've had some good success recently. They've had a lot of change as well. But other than that, New England, they're not that exciting right now. All the excitement is around the newer teams like the LAFC, like obviously the Inter Miamis, the Charlotte, for granted. They've got Wilfred Zaha and they've got Dean Smith, who's actually doing bloody wonders with them. Orlando, Cincinnati are doing good now. San Diego, who are top of the West. And then there's us, a team with 4 MLS Cups from the early days. We are a legacy team. And it's going to take a lot more than just a head coach change to get us back to being exciting and be relevant. It's a shame for such a historic club. They don't respect us fans who spend their time and energy and money. And we need it. There's been... No, actually, I'll come on to that in a couple of headlines' time, actually, what I was going to say there. So I'll save that for that. On to the next one, because I feel like it's the right time to move on from that right now. Lucho Acosta, a former player of ours, completed a transfer recently over to FC Dallas. From FC Dallas to Fluminense. He's gone on and done wonders. Obviously, he had that failed PSG transfer. But he's doing all right for himself, I want to say. Getting some big money moves. He's... What we would give to have someone like that back at the club. Click, yeah. That's something I actually forgot to mention. I actually mentioned that in this little segment here. Thank you, goodbye. Because there's been a few other transfers as well. It's not just Lucho Acosta. But yeah, Click has also transferred away. Out from Atlanta, he got waived, and now he's back in Poland. We still don't get the DP slot back. One of the worst trades. Period. That's it. It was just one of the worst trades. I don't know who signed that off, who thought that was a good idea. It just wasn't. We've just wasted what I think is $1 million this year on our salary for literally nothing. Literally nothing. So frustrating. Also, obviously, apart from Click, Donovan Pines has signed for a team in Austria as well. That was just over a week ago. Tyler Miller has signed for Bolton Wanderers in the Championship, so he's moved on to a decent club as well. There's former players are signing for decent teams. That's all. That's the theme. They're signing for better than what we are right now, and that's a very, very low bar, to say the least. Right now, I wouldn't even see us getting beaten a League One team in England right now. I mean, granted, my Borough team got beat 4-0 by Doncaster Rovers last week. But, you know, I wouldn't even see us doing that, beating Doncaster Rovers right now. It's so bad. So, yeah. The final sort of headline talking points for this little segment, because it's quite depressing, to say the least. But, yeah, that did. That's all I'm going to say. Fan discontent has. I think it's more. It's just. Is it boiling point? Is probably the best way of explaining it. But yeah, the mood is pretty much at an all-time low. There's been the sell the team hashtag. There was the chance as well at the recent matches of sell the team as well. It's common. You see it everywhere. Reddit posts, you see it on Twitter, you see it on Instagram, you see it on Facebook, you see it literally everywhere. There's never a post that I see go up where there's not a sell a team or we need new ownership or something along those lines. You even see it on, I think, I've got to check it. Sorry, I've got to check it right now. Is it still on his Jason Levian's Wikipedia page? Yeah. So if you go onto Jason Levian's Wikipedia page, under the DC United section, the last paragraph, it reads, and I'm going to read this verbatim. Under Levian's ownership, the club has been in such a tailspin that analysts have been calling the team a disaster, and many long-term fans are demanding that he sell the team to someone who cares about winning. That's how we feel as fans right now. We want him to sell to someone who cares about winning, not to someone. We don't want someone who's happy to be middle of the ground. I mean, we can't even get to that right now. We can't even get middle of the ground. We are rock bottom. RFK refugees, they did a recent podcast where rock bottom has a basement. I think we go below the basement. That's how it feels right now. We are below the basement. We are 6 feet under the basement right now. We're a team that's dead in the water. That is genuinely how I feel right now. It is just, it's garbage. It's really poor, to say the least. I find it difficult to really get behind an owner who's happy just to have the value of the club go up because he's got good real estate. He's in a city that is expensive to live in, and because of that, the value of the club goes up. He just needs to just get out. I think there was, when at that meet and greet, he was there, and someone asked him, and if this is true, the fair play about this situation that he's in, that we're in, and how he should potentially sell the team. There was talk. I've got to go and look it up. I should have looked this up beforehand. So I'm kind of going this off the top of my head. But he should have. Apparently, he's from the area. He wants the team to do well, and he wants to see the team be a success. If he wants to see the team be a success, he needs to leave the team. That's what he needs to do. No more being around. What was it? If you're a hero, but if you stay around long enough, you become the villain. He is a villain right now. He was a hero getting out of here. That's great. They've got a really good stadium. Granted, there's obviously room for improvement with the stadium. There will always be. I mean, you look at any stadium, you've got the greatest stadiums in the world, but there will always be stuff that can be better about them. And that goes the same for Audi Field. We've got some great seating. There's no bad views in Audi Field. I'm a true believer of that. But there's things like we could have had a roof. You look at the original artist sketches of what the stadium was going to be like. It's nothing like that, and that looked really good. We do have a really nice stadium, but there is so much better that could be done with it. And we had such a good run when we opened up Audi Field and to the rest of 2018. That was such a good time. That was one of the best times we've had in a long time. And if we'd beaten Columbus Crew in that playoff match, I think we would be talking about a completely different DC United right now. But we're not. We're talking about this DC United, and this DC United right now is trash. To give the American word, we are trash. We are rubbish. We are awful. And I'm just this one guy over here in the UK. We've got a few other fans over here, but I'm the voice of it. And I know I can't make a difference, but if I can be a voice that spurs on other people to raise their voice and just build a bit of momentum and hopefully have something towards it, I will. That's what I want to do. I would love to make a complete big difference. I mean, I would love to get Jason on the show. That would be great to put to him the fans' voice. Maybe I'll ask about that. I doubt I'll get it, but I'll ask. So yeah, that's how we're feeling right now. I think I've summed that up quite nicely. So yes, that is the news and the headlines and the talking points of that bit. So on that note, we will play the video once more, and then we'll talk about the New England game. So we're back. New England. Same old. Another defeat. Another poor performance. Just, more of the same. But I've got a new graphic. I've got another new one. So let's bring that up. And I hope you like this one because I'm pretty proud of this one. Woo! There we go. Look at that. So, what you'll see at the top of the screen, you've got New England. You've got the fixture. You've got the score line. You've got the date. You've got the stadium. You've got the referee. Let's break it down through the stats. And I've kind of put it in an order which, to me, makes a bit of sense. Don't know why I refreshed there and just bumped up, but hey, here we go. So total shots, 12-9. The first stat I'm going to give you is always going to be New England's, and the second stat is going to be DC United's. And if you are watching, you'll see the colours are matching the prominent colour of the team logo as well. Shots on target. I need to rephrase those on screen, but 3 apiece. Off target, 5-5 as well, so 5 apiece there. New England had 4 block shots to our 1, so that's the only difference between the shots there. Possession, 53-47, so not a huge difference there, quite even. Corner kicks, 8-3, fouls, 14 apiece, 2 yellow cards apiece, no red cards in this game. And then you got passes, and then you got expected goals. I mean, total amount of passes is 9 of the same, 465-420. And then expected goals, 1.16 to 0.93. So really, this should have been a very, very close game. I hope you enjoyed the stats there. We played I had something I need to get up on screen next. Let's get the 2 formations side by side as well. I'll do that for next episode. Actually, I did have the formations at one point. Where have they gone? Match day. No. Oh well, never mind. So we lined up in a 4-4-2 formation. Pirani was set up as a forward who was playing in just behind Benteke. New England's 4-2-3-1, pretty standard from them. Carlos Hill just kind of ran the show. It was one of those games where we were 0-0 at half time, and you thought it could be all right. We could potentially get something out of this, whether it's a draw. That's what I was expecting. I think after that first half, I thought we could 0-0. I'll be all right with that. It's a point. It's against a team that's in and around where we are. They're on a bad run of form like we are. It would be no real surprise. But we didn't. We conceded 2 goals in the second half in 8 minutes. And that was it. We just could not defend for those goals. I mean, Campagna was unmarked on their first goal, headed it in. Could June have been in a better position? 100%. He was way too near his near post. I know you don't want to be beaten at your near post, but when it comes to that kind of header, it's always going to go across the face of goal. So it could have been just one step to the right, a little bit further along, and I think he would have got a hand to it. That's all it needed. I mean, we had, I think it was Warren Barton was our commentator for this game, and he was very, very critical of DC United, and he was not holding back at all, and he was not holding back about June. He lacks confidence. He looks like a man that just doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't have control. He just doesn't have anything at all. And I'd agree. There was a shot where I can't remember whether it was in the first half or whether it was in the second half. But it was in the second half. He went to catch it, and it just fell through his hands. And it's just like, and I hate to say this, but you know what it reminded me of? John Kempen. And that man was not a good goalkeeper for us at all. He was not a good goalkeeper. So, yeah. Yes, Gunnar Kempen was god awful. That's the level of goalkeeper we have right now. Luis Barraza, it's been all right. He's not had a good defence in front of him, but I don't think he's a good goalkeeper either. He's prone to making mistakes as well. Every single match, there's a mistake from him. You look at the amount of goals we've conceded. Our goal difference, minus 29. Just, yeah. Absolutely awful. Could Benteke look quiet? I don't really remember much of him in this match. I don't remember much of any of our plays, if I'm honest. It was a game that I really wanted to forget. Yeah. I mean, granted, I was concentrating on getting obviously my stream right with the new visuals and things, but I wouldn't have needed to if that match was entertaining or if we were doing something right and I had something to actually, watch. But we were so bad, I was like, I'll just do this and this and this. So, there's a word on here. Tradition. We're just done it. We're traditionally bad now. That's what we're known for. Being bad. It's bad enough trying to get the stigma of Major League Soccer out of the UK, where it's a Farmers League and this, that and the other. But when you've got teams like DC United playing so badly right now, it just doesn't help. And when there's no consequence for being so bad, there's no relegation, you get higher draft picks, whether that actually means anything nowadays, but it's just, there's nothing to really spur you on to not finish bottom. It's just, there's a post that I put up on the website, on DCUnitedKingdom.com, that went through my opinion of what promotion relegation would look like in Major League Soccer and whether MLS needs it. And I'm a firm believer that there needs to be some kind of consequence for finishing at bottom. And I think there's ways where the league could make it work, and an especially American sports kind of way. Now, I know no American sports has promotion relegation, and I know when I've talked about this, I always get flack, especially from your side of the pond. So I'm talking to you listeners from America. I know I get a lot of flack for it. And I know a lot of it is from people who just aren't open to any changes. They're not willing to listen. They're very stuck in their ways. And I get there's the American way, there's the traditional American way. However, you've got a league that has zero consequence for finishing bottom, and you just get drab in the league, and the fans will hopefully stop turning up. But the downside to that is the team will just get shipped off to another location. It's not really the only people that really hurts is the fans. It doesn't hurt the owners. They'll sell the club. They'll move over to a new location. They'll get their money. Nothing happens. Right now, as a club, we've got nothing. One of the points that came back to me was about clubs folding, like your Burys, your Macclesfields, those teams. They're really, really far down in the league, and there's a lot of things that the English pyramid could do better, especially with the amount of TV money that goes in. Not enough money gets put into the grassroots game. But that's not a consequence of promotion relegation. That is just the FA not doing things properly, not giving the money out evenly across or prorated in the right way. It's probably the better way of trying to explain it. And to be fair, they're bad. Those types of clubs that do go under, they're badly run clubs. They've got really bad owners. We have an ownership test to make sure that owners who do come in and take over clubs are fit and proper, and they are able to, keep the club afloat for one. And you don't see clubs going under nowhere near as much as it did a couple of decades ago. But yeah, I firmly believe there needs to be consequences. And I think, going about, I'm loving the messages you put in the chat. There is zero consequence to being the wooden spoon. Jason bought into the MLS, not into DCU. That is what MLS club ownership is all about, is buying into the league, not buying the club. You're buying rights to have a team in the league. You're not buying the team, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Like David Beckham, I think he had the rights to a team. He just needed to pick a location. It's kind of... It just doesn't feel right. There's a lot of things MLS does just great, and I love the league, and I love the fact that there's no dominant team year on year, and it chops and changes, and I love that aspect, and I love the style of play in the league as well. But what I don't love is the fact that you could finish bottom for 5-6 years, not make the playoffs. Doesn't matter. You carry on doing what you do. There's just no consequences. But anyway, shall we have a little look ahead to the upcoming fixture? So, as you can see, we've got the next fixtures coming through. Our next fixture is against Montreal. I've got to remember to pick up the right head-to-head. There we go. So yeah, there we go. So if you look over on the right-hand side, if you're again watching us, you'll see our previous 5 games against Montreal. Incredibly even, shall we say. You'll see our previous fixture was a 0-0 draw earlier on in the year. Then last year we had a 4-2 defeat in Montreal, but we beat them at home 1-0. Then the year before that, we beat them in Montreal 1-0, and then it was a 2-2 draw at Audi Field. So, Montreal with a win, 2 draws, and DC United with 2 wins there. So it's pretty close. It's the general feel between these two teams is it's always been a very close fixture. Montreal are just above us in the league, purely on goal difference. The big question is obviously René Weiler is in charge for this weekend, what will that look like for us as a club? What will that look like for us as tactically? Will there be any changes from the last month when Kevin Flanagan's been in charge? For me, I don't believe that will be any different. I think it'll just be what we've been doing, which is the 4-4-2, which I'm pleased that we're doing 4-4-2. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm like. I love my 4-4-2 formation, but we need to be way better. We need to have some kind of defensive stability, because right now, the amount of times that I just see a pass go straight through the middle, and we're just not closing the lanes down. There's just nothing. There's no midfield. There's no centre midfield. There's no centre defence right now. It's just I can play a pass straight down the middle of the pitch, and I know it's going to get to a forward. That's about it. There was the press conference yesterday, as of recording anyway. That was on Thursday, and I just want to give you a few sort of key points from that press conference as well. One of them is from Kevin Flanagan, who's the new coach, who obviously, as been talked about, mentioned that he's not going to be on the sideline this weekend. Rene has been in and has took training on Thursday, so we'll definitely see a new face on the sideline this weekend. That was about it. Not much else was talked about. It was kind of a bit drab, shall we say. If I just go back to the questions that were asked in there. Injury report, there's no new injuries to report from that side of things. He was asked about what was it? When you look at Montreal on film, what have you seen from the matches that could be an advantage for us? Didn't really answer the question. Just talked about not being on the sideline. And just said, yes, he won't be there in any capacity. He's not said a final message to the squad. He's just been focusing on the weekend. He was asked about his experience, which he said he's said it's been very good. I'm guessing that's from a personal point of view. Results like to be different, yes, but the experience has been good. His role was to do a job for the club and the players and the squad, and we've been very focused on making sure all the energy is leaning towards giving the players what they need in this moment. That's kind of how it's come across. And how would you feel this experience kind of, that's pretty much it. And then Ben Teke, the key points were on the team's mentality. We can lose games, but there is a way on how we're going to lose the games. And we're not going to lose games by just giving up. We will fight until the end. Be nice to see that. On motivation, he knows that we don't have anything else to really play for. How many games have we got left now in the league? If I bring the head-to-head away, 8 games left, 24 points. Yeah, we really don't have anything to play for now. It's just all we have, but is dignity, pride, family, and friends. So we can do that for them. And then the fans as well, of course. So the bit that just got me there is the fact that fans aren't the first thing that's mentioned. That should be ingrained throughout the club. The fans are what make the club. They're the ones who should be giving you the dignity and the pride. Fans are the ones who turn up week in, week out, and they contribute a lot of money, they contribute a lot of time. And without us fans there would be no team. That annoyed me. Benteke was asked about how the morale is, what have the guys done this week to pick each other up and create a positive atmosphere. they've just been talking about sticking together just to keep working. There is no magic. There's no one who's going to feel sorry for them. We have to do more, and we have to keep working hard. How we're going to go, he was asked about how we're going to plan to go at them and to shock them on their own soil. His response is, thinking about it, we're in the bottom of the table, us and them, so the negative atmosphere and the negative momentum, we can always find something positive, and that's something to look forward to. Let's not finish on the bottom. We're playing against a direct team that we can win. Let's challenge ourselves to come back from Canada with 3 points. Let's hope that is the case, because that would be nice. Was there anything that we did well against New England that we could continue against Montreal? I think if you ask fans, there is no. Basically, that's kind of what he's saying. There's been something that we just don't hurt the opponents, and that costs us the game. We can play well, but if you don't create chances, it's going to be even more frustrating. Have you felt the organisation has committed the process of getting this new manager and the time it's been taken for him to come to the US? He was asked about. For him, it didn't change anything. He's professional. They come to training every day to get the job done and get ready for the weekend. It would be easy if we had the new coach with us, but it's not an excuse to not get ready for the weekend. And then he was kind of asked about the winless run as well. It's something that he's had to process with himself and to deal with the reality. Giving your best doesn't guarantee you're going to win football matches, but it's the least you could do. We want to at least have a few wins for the rest of the season and to have a feeling of winning a football match rather than going back home with that loss on you. Yeah. So that's kind of how the press conferences broke down on the weekend. So not the weekend, from midweek, from Thursday for this weekend. Be interesting to see what you guys out there you think about what's going to happen this weekend. Are we going to have that? Somehow we're going to get that win, or is it going to be a draw, or are we just going to have yet another defeat on our hands, and we'll then become 3 points away from Montreal, who then move above us in the table? If you're not answering in the podcast, if you're listening to it, post it, then feel free to DM me or at me on your social medias. More than happy to discuss what you think about the game at the weekend. Right now, I just don't see us winning. It's going to be a tricky fixture, but I will be here. I will be doing the watch along, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel and keeping up, because you'll get all these fancy graphics yet again. With the tickers, you'll have on this side, which is on your, if you're watching, it's on your left hand side. For me, it's on I'm pointing with my right hand. You'll have the ticker for the actual game itself, and then down here you'll have across the league. So you'll have all the updates from all the games around the league. Then up here on the actual sidebar on the right, you would have all the latest scores going through. So you'll actually have just a nice run through of every single game that's happening and all the latest scores from both conferences, from the East and from the West, if they're playing. And then up at the top there, you'd have the actual scoreline and stuff. So, that's still going to be there. I'll be here. I'll be giving my thoughts, my reactions, my commentary on the game. So please do come and join along for it. Players to watch this weekend, obviously for us, is there anyone? But if we are it's gonna have to be Christian Benteke, our kind of DP right now. If you can get the support, then you'll probably be able to get goals. But he's not being able to get that support right now, and I just find it difficult to see that ever changing. Montreal, they've obviously got a few good attackers as well, so and Montreal have been picking up the pace a little bit as well. Keys for us to get a result is to stop conceding goals. That'd be nice. Have a midfield, especially in the middle, in the centre midfield. Why Eno keeps being selected ahead of Paltala, I do not know, but I'd rather have Paltala and Kojima in the centre than Eno. Eno is just, he picks up the ball. He does progress forward, but if he's at the back, he dilly-dallies on it, and if he gets pressured, he gets tackled, we lose the ball, the opponent creates a chance and they could potentially score. So yeah, we need to avoid that. So yeah, that's kind of the Montreal game. I think we're going to get beat. I'm not going to give a scoreline, but we're going to move on to a graphics down again, down below, for questions that you guys have sent in. Let's bring it up. So yeah, first up, coming in from Discord, how about a little, would you rather have this player or that player? So, Dahome or Leal? Tricky. And that's, you're probably thinking, what? Why aren't you just picking Leal? Leal, I've not seen enough of him to go definitively, I'd rather have him. Dahome, can I neither? I mean, sure, if you want to have neither, why not? All fair and all game. But I'm gonna pick one. Now, Dahome, when he was played in a sensible position, which is either the left wing or up top, he was actually pretty decent. He scored a few goals. He had pace. He had drive. But there were so many times he was played at left back and he is not a defender. And he had a bit of a personality about him as well. And I've just not seen that from Leal. I've not seen why there was so much hype about him signing yet. It just doesn't seem fit enough. It seems like he's just wrapped up in cotton wool the entire time, and it's a bit weird. So I wouldn't be sad if I saw I'll leave at the end of the year, if I'm honest. I've not seen enough of him to say I'd give him another year. The next option was Click or Eno. Click. I don't like Eno at all. I've not been impressed with him in any way, shape, or form. He's just cost us too many times, too many mistakes, too many chances given away, too many turnovers. I'm not impressed with Eno at all. So Click, at least he was able to get the assists. He's got a few goals. He'd wind up the opponents. He'd had something about him. He was aging, so there was that side of him. But I'd rather have had him, especially the fact that we were paying him. We were paying a salary, and it hit our cap. So why not have him back and have him over Eno? Rodriguez or Kojima? If Rodriguez was being paid the same as Kojima, I would take Rodriguez. But he wasn't. And Kojima's been phenomenal. The value for money on Kojima has been great. And I've been very impressed with Kojima. I can't do the lesser of two evils here. Yeah, Kojima for me all day on that one. Rodriguez was too expensive for what we were getting out of him. He had that year out with his torn ACL. Didn't help matters, but Kojima, the only good sign of the year? Yeah, pretty much. Kim or Bono is the last one. Bono, I would have to say. Bono on this one. Kim's got potential. Definitely has potential. But right now, our state of play is we can't rely on potential. We need results now. So Bono on that one. Bono can at least make saves. And you know what? He was on my podcast as well. He was on the show last year with the Teen Tactics. It was a good chat. I enjoyed it. Right, questions. Actually, I need to move take the headhead away as well. So let's remove that. Let's get that back. Questions. There you are. Right, refresh for the next question. Is the new kit the best looking thing on the pitch for us this season? I mean, the kit is nice, granted. The new away kit is very lovely, and I do love our home shirt for last year and this year. I love our home shirt. It's beautiful. But yeah, the kits have been the best thing, no doubt. Thank you, Brian, for that question. He follows up with, has there been any bright light amongst the job this year? And I think what me and Gunnar just been talking about there in the chat, Kojima has been the light in this dark year. It's been for DC United. He's been lovely. Great to see. Gets himself about the pitch, puts in 100% every game. He's had a couple of goals. Can play pretty much anywhere. And didn't cost us a lot. So yeah, for me, Kojima has been that light. To be fair, Peglau as well. He's been a decent signing. When he's fit. That's another thing that he's been a good player when he's been fit, but he needs to stay fit. I've enjoyed watching him play. Next question. Who was your favourite DC United Kingdom fan that you met in person this summer? Brian. Is the only one have I seen Stu and Andy this year? No, I actually haven't. I need to. Stu, Andy, we need to meet up at some point soon. But Brian, if you don't know the story, Brian came over to the UK earlier on in the year, back in June, I believe it was. July, last month, and came out to London, and he messaged me and was like, I'm going to be going here, I'm going to be going there, and then so on and so forth. And when he mentioned the second place, I was like, that's literally down the road from where I live. So he came out, he was in Cheltenham, and I drove down and met him down there. It took me about 15 minutes to get into Cheltenham. We went for a coffee, we met up, we had a great chat, and it was just great just to actually meet up with a fellow fan and just be there. And he's there wearing his DC UK shirt, which you can get from dc90kingdom.com /DC UK store, so go ahead and get yourself that. Yeah, and it was just great. I loved it. It was such a good time, and I would love to do more things like that, but it's a bit expensive to get to the States right now. And probably quite difficult to get in as well. But that's another story. That's a different type of podcast. Richard Wilson has asked, now the season is a wash, what would you like to see from the team? What players do you want to see more of? How would you manage the remaining games? So what would I like to see from the team? I would like to see some attacking intent. I would like to see some solidity at the back. And I would like to see some solidity in the midfield. That's asking a lot. That's what I would like to see from the team. What would I take as a minimum? Better defence. That's what I would take as a bare minimum for the rest of the season is better defence. I couldn't care less if we didn't score any more goal. If we scored one goal in each game, but as long as we can keep the defence tight, if we kept a clean sheet, you don't lose the game. as the thinking that we've got right now is, if we don't concede, we don't lose. Brilliant, and you can build up from that. We're not good enough to be in the we'll score one more than you scenario, which is what we had with Lasada Ball. That was fun. That was a lot of fun, but we had a lot of younger. We had quite a few young kids. I mean, we had Paredes, we had Cuda Pietro's coming through. Jackson Hopkins is there, I think, as well. We had that was fun. But there was obviously things off the pitch that weren't so fun. We just aren't there. We're not good enough to be there, so we just need to make sure our defence is solid and build from that. What plays do you want to see more of? I would love for us to have more flair players, if that's the angle that you're going for here. We need to have people who can pick a pass. Now, Pirani should have been that kind of player. Hasn't turned out that way for whatever reason. He's been playing up top. He's been playing in probably not the best position for him. He's not been able to pick that position. But I think that's what he needs. He needs to be able to pick and be in the best position and be that player who we play through, not to, which is what Benteke has been doing. And we need to have variety as well. And how would I manage the remaining games? I would tell the players. Now, I know I've just been talking about we need to have solid defence. And you see this quite often when a team's been relegated, and it's the Premier League or Championship or wherever, that there's just like the weight off the shoulders and they can start playing football properly. Because there is no consequences, as has just been mentioned in the chat, we can just play. We can have fun. People love hearing me say that. But we can just go out and just, not give an absolute shit about what happens with the result. We just need to show that there's the fight there, that there's the willingness to go and score that goal and give the fans hope that there's going to be something coming out of this game. Because right now, every week we're going into the game going, we're going to get beat. How many by? When we did, and I hopped on the United Latest podcast. That's literally, we went through edge of the matches for the rest of this season, and we got, how many are we going to get beat by in this one? How many are we going to get beat by in this one? It wasn't a case of how many are we going to win? Do we have a chance of winning in this one? There was like one or two, but if that. And that was just because we were joking on. But let's just go out there. Playing some kids. I mean, we could do that. It'll be interesting to see how many of the players that we've got right now will be here next season. Because if I look through our roster, which I've got now up on the DC UK website, so if you want to have a look, at that page, it's dcunitedkingdom.com/roster. Will Jordan Farr be here next season? Maybe, maybe not. I realise we're going quite far into the episode now. Baraza, maybe, maybe not. Kim, I'd imagine he'll be here next season. So that could be a complete goalkeeping change almost again. Schnegg, I'd like to see him stay. I think he's done enough to be there for next season. Derek Dodson, meh. Conor Antley, I'm not sure he'll get any new deals or be here next year. McNaughton probably will be. Bartlett, unfortunately. Kai Rolls will be. Garrison Tubbs, I'd like to see him stay. I think he's got a bit of potential behind him. A bit of reminds me of Donny Pines. Herrera, I think will end up staying. Matty Peltola. Not sure whether he'll stay or not. I wouldn't begrudge him if he wanted to leave. Kojima has to stay. Stroud can absolutely do one. Savagna, not seen enough of him to stay. Hopkins, I think he's had enough chances to stay. Pirani, there's been a lot of rumours about him leaving. A couple of failed bids in for him. Boris Eno, he can do one. Readers are here. Don't think he'll stay. Gavin Turner, we need to see more of him. Benteke, I think his deal ends the end of this year. I think we've got the option, but I'm not sure if we'll end up taking it. I think it'd be nice just to have a fresh leg. He's 35 and he's been out injured for a bit and his legs are just not there now. So he's done well for us. And he will go down as a player who's an icon. If you look at Football Manager, you've got favourite personnel, icons, legends. The amount of goals he scored, I think and he won the Golden Boot. So for me, he can go down as an icon. Dominic Bargy, I know he puts the effort in, but yeah. Jacob Murrell, I think, unfortunately, I've just not seen enough for him to stay. Christian Fletcher needs to stay off the physio table. Karamoko, unknown. Peglau absolutely stays. Randall Leal, not enough for him to stay. So in my book, Audi era legend, yeah, absolutely from Benteke. So for me, next year there's going to be so much change. If it was me being the manager, I'd want a nice clean slate, build up from there, right, yet again. So yeah. DC United latest the podcast that I was on. Who do you think Rene Weiler will sign first, and who do you think will be a good signing? Well, we haven't got many days left in the transfer window. We've not signed anyone at all. We've got 6 days left, so who knows? Who knows? There's 2 things here. One, not enough time in the window to really get anything worthy through. If we were going to get a good deal done, it would have already been done. 2, who would join us right now? Who would see a call or see an email coming in from DC United, Jason Levian, and we want to sign your player. Cool. Put the bid in, accept it. Sweet. Talk to player's agent. DC United. All right, okay. Let's have a look. See how they're doing in MLS. Look at the East Conference there. At the bottom. Look at previous seasons. How have they done? Oh, they've not made the playoffs for quite some time. Yeah, no. Who'd want to join us right now? Who would in their right mind would buy into our project right now? I don't know who would. So I don't think there's anyone out there that would be a good signing right now, because the only players that would be for the money. And that's it. Because no one would buy into the project right now. God, I hate saying bad things. I'm not this person. I'm optimistic. I am. You look at seasons past of this show, I am Mr. Optimist. I have had blind optimism before. And false optimism. Not this, where I'm just happy just to talk negatively. This is not me. I want to be positive. But yeah, that's that one. And then the last question is, realistically, is there any hope to make this defense less porous? I would happily answer this one after this weekend, if I'm honest. After René's first game in charge. Right now, no. I just, unless we stick 11 men behind the ball, 11 men in defence, I just don't see us being less prone to defensive lapses right now. So yeah, that was the last question. if you've got a question and you want to send one in, send it in via any social network of your choice. I'm going to start putting posts up on YouTube as well, because I totally didn't see that happening. So I'll put a post up before those shows go out, asking for your questions, but also over on Instagram and on Twitter. And there is also the DC UK Discord as well. So if you want to come and join that, please let me know. You can get your questions in and it will be answered on the show. And if you are watching live, you got questions, get them in the chat. We will answer them as the show goes on. We do have one last thing before we wrap today's episode up, is the guest DC Who reveal. And the clue was earlier in the show, I obviously asked you about a 2018 MLS Best 11 player and obviously a future MVP with another club, and who's just completed a major transfer. And that was to Fluminense, who we mentioned earlier on in the episode, in the news section, and that was, as Goonaboy mentioned correctly, Lucho Acosta. But that's all for this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's great to be back. It's great to be chatting away. It's great with new graphics as well. I hope you enjoy the graphics. And if you do like what I do, make sure you please subscribe. Like this particular episode. Let's get it out to lots of people. And if you want to support in any way, shape or possible, head over to the website. I'm pretty sure the link, if it isn't, I'll put it in there. DCUnitedKingdom.com. Head over to the store section, and if you can support by buying a bit of merch, whatever it is, all the money that gets made from that just gets put straight back into doing the graphics, and being able to afford the API to bring these in for the website, for everything that's about this particular little project that I do about the podcast. It all goes straight back into there. New microphones, just anything. That's all. Any money that comes out of that goes straight back into the podcast. So, yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching and doing however. Please, DC United, let's get a win. So, as always, until next time, Vamos United.